become attached to you. Because bhakti means attachment to Krishna. It means, what does bhakti mean? Sarvopari vinaya muktam. But it means Krishna bhakti rasato bhavato mati. Kriyatam yari kuti chalabhyate. That it means tasting the sweetness of one's relationship with Krishna. And unless one tastes that sweetness, then we will not be able to give up attachment to the body. Despite how many Bhagavatam classes we hear about how its body is a stool and urine and bones and etc., etc. We need to become Krishna conscious by bhakti. Now here is Srila Prabhupada's purport. Listen very carefully. And then right at the end of it, it's not long, I will ask you if you remember anything and what you remember. Here is Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Lord advises in Bhagavad Gita, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. The perfect yoga system consists of always thinking of Krishna, always engaging in devotional service, always worshipping Krishna, and always offering obeisances to Him, namaskuru. Unless we practice this yoga system, our illusory attachment for this bad body, which is full of stool and urine, is impossible to give up. Because if we can focus our minds on Krishna and worship Krishna and offer obeisances to Krishna, kirtaniya sadahari, continuously, we will get such a sweet taste from our relationship with Krishna. And that will break all attachment to this realm of Maya. The perfection of yoga, Prabhupada continues, consists of giving up attachment for this body and bodily relationships and transferring that attachment to Krishna. We are very attached to material enjoyment, but when we transfer the same attachment to Krishna, we traverse or cover or cross the path of liberation. One has to practice this yoga system and none other. And what do you remember? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you remember something. I want to see if anyone remembers anything. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay. Yes. What do you remember? Raise your hand. Jagtrini Mataji. We have to transfer our attachment to Krishna. We must become attached to Krishna. We should take the attachment. No one is detached. We are not jnanis. The purpose of jnana yoga is to not interact with the material world. Break all attachment to matter. That is jnana yoga. But bhakti yoga is to become extremely attached to Krishna. So much so that Sripad Madhavendra Puri, I don't know the Sanskrit, and it says that those who strictly follow the Vedas criticize me. Let these people say that I'm a fool. Let the people who, because I'm wandering around with no thought of the future, let them say I'm impractical and have gone crazy. Let everyone say what they want, but I want to develop my attachment for Krishna, that boy who is so alluring, who is so attractive, who wears atop his head a peacock feather, and his smile is very charming, and it's compared to Krishna's smile is compared to what is Madhu Gandhi, Mridu Smita. It's compared to the fragrance of honey, very subtle and sweet, and very, very gentle and mridu, very soft and gentle. And his eyes are always dancing. Did you ever see anyone's eyes dancing? Krishna's his eyes move restlessly from one devotee to the next, and he calls the cows, and he looks, glances at this one and glances at that one. We want to become attached to Krishna. There is no more suitable object of attachment than Krishna. Krishna means Krishna, and Krishna, those who are attached to Krishna, and Krishna's land. We want to develop this attachment. And one has to practice this yoga system, Prabhupada says, and none other. The yoga of attachment and service to Krishna, bhakti yoga, by chanting Krishna's names, manmana, bhavamad, by always being engaged in serving and worshipping and chanting and hearing about Krishna and thinking about Krishna and offering obeisances to Krishna. What's the benefit of, why do we have to offer obeisances to Krishna? Raise your hand. Why? Why do we have to offer obeisances to Krishna? Because he is great and we are insignificant. And the last thing the mind wants to do is offer obeisances to anyone. The materialistic mind wants everyone to offer obeisances to me. And if they don't, they are fools. And they deserve to be chastised immediately. This is the nature of the materialistic mind. And it has to be trained to offer obeisances to Krishna, because he is great. He is the one who creates the entirety of the universe. He is the one who destroys it just like that. And he is the one who is maintaining it. Everything in existence, the planets, the dust, it is Krishna. It is all resting upon him. Mama Angso Tejo Sambhava. It is all coming from Krishna. So we should naturally, being very tiny and insignificant, offer obeisances and serve the greatest. But the materialistic mind, especially the materialistic modern mind, Ishwaraham, Aham Bhogi, Siddhaham. So we practice bhakti to overcome these problems. Okay, now that I've talked and ruined your concentration on the purport, does anyone still remember anything from the purport that wasn't mentioned? Yes, you raised your hand quickly. Unless we engage ourselves in bhakti yoga, we cannot become attached to the body. And remember the last verse, or the next one, the last verse that Narada Muni said was said, if we're practicing bhakti yoga and reading all the shastra and still attached to the body, we're wasting our time. Very heavy point, very embarrassing point. And not only the body, but everything that is related to the body. So very, very, very heavy. So to practice bhakti yoga is not a cheap thing, but it is the most wonderful thing. So dire dire we move forward. Thank you. Anyone else remember anything else? What verse was quoted from the Bhagavad Gita? Yes. Manmana bhavamad bhakto Oh, it depends which chapter. Krishna promises, Mam, Eva, Yassi, you'll come to me. He says it twice. Priyosime, because you are dear to me, O Arjuna. You are a devotee. If you practice this form of yoga, you will come to me. I will bring you to me. By my mercy, I will bring you to me. Anyone remember anything else from that Srila Prabhupada said? Mataji, did you raise your hand? You have to say it very loudly because we have no microphone for you. Yes, but I think that was something I said, not from that Prabhupada said. Because being attached to Krishna doesn't mean we should only see Krishna and neglect the devotees. That is bhakta praya, or anything connected to Diyanam Samacharam, things that are connected to Krishna. Thank you. Anyone remember anything else from the Prabhupada's purport? Yes, transfer the attachment. We should become attached, but we shouldn't become attached to matter, dead matter, because it will cause us so much suffering. The illusion is that it will bring us so much pleasure, but the reality is that it causes so much suffering. Prabhupada says, unless we practice this yoga system, our illusory attachment for this bad body, which is full of stool and urine, it doesn't sound very attractive that way. But Maya puts so much glitter on it. It's magic, jaduwala. Maya is the greatest magician, and makes something that's essentially going to crumble and wrinkle. It seems so wonderful. But then in 1 second, the mind holds on to it, and then in 1 second we could be angry at that same thing that we're looking to for pleasure and looks so appealing. Maya is incredible. But Krishna is the most incredible. Okay, we'll end here. Kindly bestow upon us this benediction. Narada Muni ends. And what is the benediction that he's asking for? Raise your hand if you remember. The power to execute, the power to control the restless mind and focus it in bhakti. That is what he's praying for. What a wonderful prayer. Okay, we have another 2 minutes or 3 minutes, so any questions or comments? Yes.
We were talking about Gyan and Bhakti, our difference somewhere in class. What is Jnana Mishra Bhakti actually? And what's the difference with that and pure Bhakti?
Jnana Mishra Bhakti, sometimes it's used to mean that performing bhakti for the purpose of getting jnana. Or sometimes it's bhakti Mishra Jnana. So that's one way of understanding it. So that's not what you're asking about, though. But that's one way of understanding it. Performing bhakti to gain liberation, especially. Now, of course, none of the devotees perform bhakti to gain freedom from misery, because we all accept all difficulties as the mercy of Krishna. Yes? We just, anyway, whatever miseries, if Krishna desires, okay. We're all on that platform, because that's what it means to be a devotee. But there's another meaning, too, which they're to mix the processes of bhakti with the processes of gyan. If there's a predominance of gyan in our bhakti, not meaning study of bhakti shastras, but a predominance of gyan meaning detachment even, because the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is nirbandha Krishna sambandha yukta vairagya, seeing everything neutrally. But we also need the preaching, the gyan type of preaching, because we tend to be too attached. So that's to break our attachment. But really the devotees see everything neutrally, and we saw that with the Prabhupada. He saw everything neutrally and as Krishnas and meant to be used in Krishna's service. So when there is an aversion and an attempt to pull oneself back from the body through the intellectual processes, that will mix into the process of bhakti gyan, and the result of that won't be ideal. It's shantaras, which isn't accepted as a rasa. But this is somewhat a technical subject. Did that answer your question sufficiently? Could we discuss it for a long time? Okay, we'll end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sisi Gauratai ki jai. Sisi Krishna Balarama ki jai. Sisi Radha Shyama Sundar Lalita Vashaka Devi ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.